All right, let's come to Krishna consciousness and about Krishna consciousness. Actually, I did have a little thought today that to stress some importance on the fact of hearing in our devotional life, that it's sravanam, kirtanam, smaranam. The very first thing is hearing, and we somehow or another these last days, then always something's coming up wherever I'm reading, whatever we're doing, where it's about the stress on we see by hearing. This is Guru Maharaj's expression, how we see by hearing. We don't see by the force of our eye, as it were, but we see by hearing. And Srila Guru Maharaj, for sure, though I can't pick up a translation right now, but Srila Guru Maharaj, for sure, told that when we are chanting our japa, etc., not to sit in front of a picture. Now, first of all, I can say that Gurudev told himself, and this is just in our conversations together, and I've heard him another couple of times say it, but he did say that I asked the Guru Maharaj that while chanting japa, what's the best thing to do? Should I be sitting in front of the deities? Should I be in front of a picture? I mean, what's the best thing to do? And Guru Maharaj told to Gurudev to be somewhere where you are not distracted, but not in front of a picture or the deities. And to hear, in the sense of looking at them. And the focus will be on hearing the name that has been given to us. So of course, it's subtle hearing. So this is more or less what Gurudev told. He didn't give a lot of elaboration on that. But Guru Maharaj certainly told, and if I can, and I probably can, I can find the actual either transcript or the audio, but he said actually that quite specifically that if you are in front of a picture or somehow or another with our other senses, other than our chanting and hearing focus, then we will be dragged by our material vision to that lower level. We'll be dragged by what we know in our material use of the eyes, etc. And quite strongly, Guru Maharaj said this. So the hearing process is also the process in our japa. It is a subtle hearing process. And as Guru Maharaj also said about reading is hearing. When we're reading, we are hearing what we're reading. There's some subtle hearing process taking place there. So the hearing side is stressed everywhere. And we receive the mantra through the ear. And Srila Guru Maharaj, we've all heard expressed Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev, because of course Gurudev is telling us everything that Guru Maharaj has said and telling with the conception behind that when we are, now I distracted my brain from what I was going to say. A very authentic Guru Maharaj and Gurudev saying. What was I about to say? Somebody tell me. Oh my goodness. You see, that's midnight. Okay, this is midnight.
Are you looking at a picture of the deities right now?
Being dragged. I'm looking at a picture of you all, except somebody highlighted me, so I've got a big picture of me, which I'm trying to avoid, and I'm trying to see your pictures. Oh, sorry. Please excuse. I lost the track of that. On the principle of hearing. Excuse me. I lost it. Anyway, hearing.
Yeah. Big important point that you're making about when you're chanting, not to be distracted by looking at pictures of the deity. And Whatever you
Yeah,
want to go on that track will be great.
And you were also mentioning Guru Maharaj's idea of hearing through seeing.
Ah,
right. Anyway, I just gently lost that one. I'm sorry. It may come back. However, yes, this whole hearing thing too. I mean, it's from Guru Maharaj that we heard, or that I heard certainly, and I hadn't really come across this anywhere in such a clear way, but where Guru Maharaj is saying how all the Vedas, which are themselves sound, subtle sound, they're all signboards. They're all not the thing, but they are, Guru Maharaj giving the example of signboards, like on the road, 90 miles to Calcutta, or at least a direction, this way to Calcutta, this way to Puri, this way, like this. It's a signboard pointing the direction. And I know that the Vedas, they make the personified prayers of the Vedas are in that, I believe, 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. It's in the Krishna books, correct? The personified prayers of the Vedas, I think they're in the Krishna books. But there they are saying many things. But hearing from Guru Maharaj and that example of the signboard, then the Vedas themselves, they're saying we're pointing the way. And what are they pointing the way to? To taking the holy name. Like we have to do something. They're showing us that's the way. But we have to do something. And what do we have to do? We have to take the holy name. They can't show us what is there, but they can show us the direction and what to do to be there. And then the holy name himself will come again through sound, through hearing, into the heart. We hear from the heart to the tongue, and from the tongue, then the sort of manifestation of the Lord in his sound form is coming. The deity form of the Lord in sound is his holy name. Again, these ideas coming from Guru Maharaj and Gurudev. And I can say a little fresher in my midnight mind is that the very last song of the 50 songs of Sharanagati, which I know about this a little bit because we have just gone through the whole Sharanagati. I don't know if any of you did. I know we did mention it maybe 2 weeks ago, that it's a good idea to go through Sharanagati. That was quite recently after Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's appearance day. But we have just completed, here in Italy actually, just completed the Sharanagati by doing one song or sometimes 2 songs every day. So the last song of Sharanagati is actually called, it's the glories of the holy name is the translation. And maybe it's maybe Harinam Mahatmya? No, something like that. The glories of the holy name. And then when we start the chapter, we're thinking, it's going to be like a few songs. It's one song. And it is the bhajan, the kirtan, which is telling more or less this idea that we are connecting with the Lord, seeing the Lord from the sound of his holy name. I'll get it right here because I can. Well, I've gone on a bit too now because since then we've been going through some of the prayers. Oh yes, here it is, I have it. Sri Nama Mahatmya. Oh, I was pretty close. Sri Nama Mahatmya. So that's the name of the chapter, but it's got one kirtan in. And I'll take some excerpts from it. We don't have to read the whole translation. But the beginning is this, Krishna Nama Dhare Kotta Bala. How much strength in the holy name. And so I'll read just a little bit, because really it's the best thing for us to do, best thing for me to do often. So this is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Sharanagati. How much power does the name of Krishna possess? My heart always burns in the fire of mundane desire, just like a desert scorched by the blazing sun. But the name enters the core of my heart through the gateway of my ears upon being transmitted to me by Sri Guru, and showers incomparable nectar. So the name enters the core of my heart through the gateway of my ears and showers incomparable nectar. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur explaining some of the ecstatic symptoms that the name gives. Oh my goodness. So you know the ecstatic symptoms. Maybe we haven't quite got there to say we know them firsthand, but we do read of them often, because you're all reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, and so many times these different symptoms are described in different ways. All right, so then skipping a little bit. Okay, the name of Krishna has prevented me from understanding anything, made me a madman, and has stolen my heart and wealth. Oh no, I'm not going to be a devotee. I better not mention this during the basics of devotional service. Oh no, I better stay away. Okay. As a bud of the flower of prema, the name, the abode of wondrous rasa, manifests such power. The bud of the flower of prema. Okay. Upon blossoming slightly further, so the bud and then blossoming a little bit, the name shows me his personal form and qualities. It steals my heart and takes me to the side of Krishna. Then upon fully blossoming, the name takes me to Braja and shows me his divine pastimes. He gives me an eternal body, keeps me by the side of Krishna, and completely destroys this material body. That is, it grants me supreme perfection. And then the last verse. The name of Krishna is the fulfiller of one's desires. He is a mine of all rasas. He is eternally liberated and an embodiment of spiritual rasa. Then the last phrase by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the whole of Sharanagati is, if I die removing all offenses to the name from the hearts of the jivas, I will be happy. That's the conclusion of his Sharanagati. So anyway, all of this is coming by hearing the name. And just now we mentioned about Chaitanya Charitamrita. And really, any Leela, practically every Leela, every pastime of Mahaprabhu that we read about in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is more wonderful than anybody could make a Hollywood movie, animation, or anything else about. I mean, we are hearing these pastimes of Swarup Damodar, Ramananda Roy, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the separation time, the union time. So many things are taking place between the devotees. And it's not possible to put that into a visual form. And one thing with the Indian art is it's somehow, in a dignified way, it presents Krishna, I think I'm talking more about the Krishna Lila now, but you know, the traditional Indian art presents Krishna and the pastimes of the persons involved in the pastimes in Vrindavan in a dignified but clearly like photographic kind of form. I think deliberately to show that it is indicating that, rather than, oh, here we're giving you an exact picture of what it looks like in the spiritual world. And so we really get the conception only by hearing. And even then we know that the words of the mundane world are always being told are completely insufficient for describing the upper world. Again, but coming as direction markers for that plane. And when we were in Thailand, then we were reading for a length of time, or all the time with Govinda Farm in the evening, reading the Brihat Bhagavatamritam. And really the descriptions of each of the planes planes means this plane, higher plane, higher plane, higher plane, that Gopakumar was going through once he was in this, well, even in the material world, the upper planes, he was astonished. And then from the astonishment of the upper planes, when he got to see the other side of the Varaja river, the other side, the side of positive engagement in service, then he's describing, oh, what I saw before. I thought that there could be nothing more wonderful than that. Now what I'm seeing is, maybe he said, 1,000,000 times more than that. How can I describe it? And then, from the Vaikuntha side, then he's coming to Ayodhya perhaps. And then in Ayodhya, he's saying, oh, what I saw before. Now this is 10,000,000 times more than that. I mean, in words, again, trying to describe. But something which I also noted there was, what he's describing is the beauty of each of these planes, the beauty of the Lord, the beauty of the devotees, the beauty of the environment. Very much, again, beauty-centered. But the descriptions that are there, he is saying, like millions of times more, and then coming step by step. And where we are now, we haven't got to Goloka Vrindavan yet, either ourselves or in the book. Obviously not ourselves, but in the book also, we haven't got to Goloka Vrindavan yet. But he's in Dwarka and hearing about Goloka Vrindavan. And when he got to Dwarka, then he was so astounded. And again, the beauty was the emphasis. So all of these descriptions also, we are hearing them. We're not seeing them. And if we do see them, then we think, okay, we're seeing this, the graph, like I don't mean graphic, sometimes they say a graphic description, like a very clear description, but not that form of graphic, but a little bit caricaturized or something. Images. So I'm thinking of the Rajasthani art and things like that. But again, if we come back to how Guru Maharaj was saying about chanting japa, that we don't want to be sitting in Guru Maharaj, I know he specifically said not to sit in front of a picture. Otherwise, your material senses will drag you to that. And then he's saying some quite strong things. I tell you what, I'm going to make a note of it in my urgent notes. I'll do some homework. And next time I'll give you this description from Guru Maharaj's either audio directly or transcription, because I know where I can find it. But to be sure I'll do it, I probably better make a quick note for myself. So anyway, the point is that I thought to mention today, because, okay, we're talking about high things, I suppose, but our whole process is hearing. Our whole process is that through the ear, we are seeing by hearing. And on that theme, I also know that in Centenary Anthology, because I read that not long ago, as I think you know, because I do tend to say what books I'm reading, because we get inspiration from reading them. But in Centenary Anthology, there is a chapter which is called Hearing to See. And there Guru Maharaj is giving this understanding too about we see, our process is to see by hearing. So I know that everyone's brought up, but not me, I wasn't brought up with television, and we're brought up very much by the seeing process. So we see it and then now we believe it, sort of thing. But okay, fine. Okay, I really have to make that note now. I normally wouldn't, but tomorrow I may not remember if I don't write it in my urgent notes. Sorry about that little detour. So so there's a chapter there, hearing to see. So everything we do should be through hearing. And I don't know about you all. I can just share a little Mahananda experience. Well, even before I was Mahananda, I was not brought up with TV. And so we did hear in our house, radio. And my parents in the evening, they listened to some of the plays on the radio, listen to also series, how they have I've never seen, sitcom, I do not know, not sitcom. Anyway, they have some series on the radio. When we got a TV, eventually we got a TV because everyone gets a TV. But then I remember seeing some of the programs that we'd heard on the radio, and it was like no, they got it all wrong. And it was something that was very clear to me that they tried to represent what we'd heard on the radio. It's almost like a book and a movie. I'm not a book person, I'm not a movie person, but from former times, you read a book, you have a whole, okay, this is mundane, but you have a whole image and set and everything else. If you see the movie, then you're being forced to see in a particular way. Whereas hearing is much more spacious. And more than that, hearing with transcendental things, then the transcendental conception is being transmitted on that sound. So this again is coming to the important point. It's not only ordinary sound, it's transcendental sound. To hear the glorification of the Lord, the name, the pastimes, etc. And Chaitanya Charitamrita is such a wonderful example for us that here it is impossible to make any justifiable, not justifiable, any, in the sense of does justice to make anything visual that will do justice to what we're hearing in Chaitanya Charitamrita. The passing away of Haridas Thakur, all of those things. If you were to try to make that in film form, I certainly would not be anywhere near the line to go to see that. We don't, it's almost like Gurudev is saying about Lalita's place, Uchagaon. He has his experience, he has his feelings, everything that came by being with Guru Maharaj when he was there. He doesn't want anything else to interrupt with that. He doesn't want any other conception of that. So we also don't want any other external thing as another conception from what we've heard from Chaitanya Charitamrita. By the grace of Srila Prabhupada, what we've heard of Chaitanya Charitamrita not necessarily reciting Chaitanya Charitamrita, but describing the pastimes from Guru Maharaj and Gurudev, from Srila Prabhupada, of course, but from Guru Maharaj and Gurudev, directly. So anyway, I thought today this theme of the importance of hearing and not of seeing this in this very visual modern world. Hare Krishna. And I'm sure there's much more that can be said about that. But anyway, a few words from me. Dayavati, look, they put my picture all big and I didn't see that you're there. Welcome. Dandavat. You're at home. What happened to your car? It's in the garage getting fixed. We usually see you driving.
Nowhere today, Maharaj.
Oh, no work today. Sunday. Okay. And full occasion was good? Good.
Yeah, he was watching from the live stream on Facebook. But now I just came home actually. So.
Oh, okay. Okay. Good to have you with us. And you'll receive, oh, there we are. Hare Krishna. Dandavat, Dandavat, follow Prabhu. Happy to see you there. Okay, now I need a reminder. I need a reminder. What time are we doing this? What time are we going to be doing the live broadcast these coming weeks? 4 hours later. Was that settled?
4 a.m. for you. 4 a.m. for you, 7 p.m. California, and 10 p.m. Miami. And I didn't calculate for Australia.
And what for Australia?
I didn't calculate it.
If it's noon.
No, I have it for Australia. For Sydney, which, I mean, for the Govinda Dham, which is the same as Sydney, it will be 12 noon exactly.
Okay, perfect.
And we need to let our New Zealand devotees know. Do you have, Praneshri or Govinda Nandini Dedi, do you have like a mailing list for everybody? Okay, wonderful.
Right now we're all doing Facebook, but yeah, I have everyone's contact, and I'm going to make a post about it. And yeah.
Okay, well, whatever is the way, it doesn't have to be mailing list then. So 4 hours later, and we hope that'll fit in okay with you. Mexico, Tijuana, you're the same time as California and Washington, D.C., etc. Oh, Washington, D.C., Washington State. Very confusing, this Washington thing. All right, any comment or contribution from anybody about sound? And also in Brazil, then Bhuvana Mohan Prabhu, before, who became Shripad Tapasvi Maharaj, he made a book which is not English, but he collected things together but gave the title of the book Som Som Som. And it had Som 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 written, that's how the cover of the book was, which means sound, sound, sound. He actually collected things together on this very theme that hearing is all in all. And chanting mantras, singing songs, hearing from the books, hearing from the devotees. Yes, Chinmadefu, yes, I see a hand.
So Gurudev used to talk about the throwing capacity of Guru Maharaj.
Yes.
So we can confidently say that Gurudev also had hearing capacity.
Indeed.
Yeah. So how do we increase hearing capacity?
Yes, by practicing our attentiveness, by practicing our, instead of namabas, if you like, doing the focused chanting in a focused way, when we are listening, to listen in the mood of humility, to listen in the mood that I am being given something from above. And whatever we listen to, and whether it's a senior devotee or a junior devotee, but if we go into the temple and there's a class being given, we must always think, or a reading or a class, anything, we must always think that what's here for my encouragement, I'm here, Krishna has allowed me to be here, there must be some message for me. So we must try to hear always, in the mood of service also. To hear, it means that we are hearing not for luxury, again, as Guru Maharaj says, not for luxury, but the hearing is for our service inspiration, service necessity. And as far as the throwing capacity of Guru Maharaj, also the throwing capacity of Krishna, playing his flute. The whole of the creation has come by Brahma hearing the flute. What was carried on that flute wave? And then we see there's the shloka, which I'm afraid I don't know, but which says, when Krishna's flute sounded, then Mother Jashoda thinks that Krishna is coming home soon. The gopis are thinking another thing. The cows are thinking another thing. The cowherd boys are thinking another thing. But what is being carried on that flute is such a great message that when Lord Brahma receives that message by Krishna's wish, then what is being carried by the sound vibration is the understanding, the not just like just understanding by theory, but the whole understanding about where we are, where is the spiritual world, and what is your duty to do in this world, the whole point of the creation, etc. So everything came from Lord Brahma, and you can say how to increase our capacity for hearing. We can say that, and not only we say, Guru Maharaj and Gurdev point out that when Lord Brahma, he tried everything, finally he realized he had to surrender. Not just, oh, please give me some answer. It's just like, he was in darkness, he'd searched everywhere, he understood by his own effort it wasn't going to be possible. I've tried everything I can. I've tried climbing down the lotus stem to find out where I am, all these things. But finally, he's sitting there on top of the lotus, and he just comes in a great time of need, prayerfully, please, some revelation. I need to understand. What is my duty? Where am I? Etc. And then the sound came at that time. In Brihad Bhagavatamritam, there's many humorous things. I mean, humorous things with with a purpose. But one thing was that Lord Brahma was making prayers this is probably straight the ocean. Anyway, okay, I better not say what I don't know. Anyway, Lord Brahma was making prayers to Vishnu, okay? And they're there, and Gopakumar is there, and he's seeing all these things taking place. And then other sages, they came and they were hearing. And they all bowed when everything was finished. Vishnu speaking some things, and so wonderful, everything so pure and wonderful. Then all the sages and people, they bowed down to Lord Vishnu before leaving. But Lord Brahma, he gave his hands like this and didn't bow down. It says, because he might have toppled off the lotus on which he was sitting. So he had to stay seated. So but gave his respect like this. And then we think, yes, if I was sitting on the top of a lotus and tried to bow down, it might be very tricky to keep balance there. Anyhow, again, by hearing, wonderful things are there. So yes, good point about the hearing. And then again, this analogy with modern radio and television, it's all carried on a wave. And then on that radio wave, you tune in the radio or the television to a certain frequency. And on that frequency, all these pictures are being carried, pictures and sound. And with that, in the mundane plane, is being carried emotion. You can make people unhappy, you can make people sad, you can rally the masses, all these things, all by sending information on that wave. But again, now we must understand about the transcendental sound. And a word which for us is easy to say, we've heard it so many times, but transcendental means above all of this, which means inevitably, really transcendental means the Vaikuntha sounds. No tinge of this material world. And we named a sweet, because it didn't have a name, a sweet made by Paramananda's wife, Paramananda's wife's father. And he makes it, they live in a village, and he gets mango and coconut milk, but he slices the mango and maybe soaks it in coconut milk. Oh, I'm giving away the secret here. Anyway, secret recipe. Anyway, and then dries it in the sun. So he slices it in layers with coconut milk, dries it in the sun. No sugar, no anything else. And dries it, it's rolled up. So it's looking a little bit like a cigar, And the fragrance of that, I mean, it's so unique. You cannot buy this in the shops. There's nowhere they sell such things. It is just made by the father, and it's like a traditional thing they make in the villages to preserve the mangoes for that when it's not the mango season. But we gave it the name Vaikuntha sweet because it just didn't smell or taste. The fragrance and the taste was like nothing of this world. It's like, what is this? I mean, extraordinarily subtle, gentle, natural. So we called it the Vaikuntha sweet. So if something in this world cannot remind us, but can indicate something really super wonderful of the upper plane, then what about the upper plane? Again, also, not only sound, there, fragrance is mentioned again and again in the Vaikuntha planes, the fragrance and the fragrance of Krishna, etc. Wonderful, wonderful things are waiting for us. And we hear about these things. So anyway, hearing, making ourselves a good receiver, again, this radio, tuning in a radio analogy, and Chinmoy Prabhu, in answer to your question, I think humility, tolerance, giving honor to others, understanding that we are small, we need the mercy of those above, even to maintain our faith. Oh, I can give you a beautiful quote. I'll give it to you here. This is, okay, here we can end with this. It is very sweet and actually memorable because it's a little extraordinary. Okay, it's from Revealed Truth, Srila Gurudev, wonderful Srila Gurudev speaking. And if you want to find it, it's not a secret, it's not just my property, it's everyone's property by the grace of Gurudev. Page 395 in Revealed Truth. The practice of Krishna consciousness is our life, and it is necessary to practice that in a fair and perfect way. In our practicing life, okay, now this, in our practicing life, faith is the basis. Faith is the basis. And love is our food. In our practicing life, faith is the basis and love is our food. If our love for Krishna increases, then everything increases. If we realize what we have received from our Gurudev, that is pure consciousness of Sri Krishna, then in everything, every song, every verse, every advice, every thought, we will feel My existence is present there. Then Gurudev says, all Krishna conscious expressions have a very sweet nature. Anyhow, coming from the lotus lips of Gurudev, that transmits something, I'm sure. I mean, it certainly transmits something. And Gurudev, always fresh, always finding ways to express. English, not his mother tongue, but always using the words in a way to express and to help us, encourage us, fuel us. All right.
Okay, Maharaj, please take some rest.
I shall. I'm going to do that within a few seconds of leaving today. I shall do that. But happily, honestly, when I thought about it too, I thought really it's like a flight. And so many flights we took over the last 6 years, continuous traveling. And we're never really thinking about it. In remembrance of Gurudev, who in much more difficult conditions for his health and everything, he tolerated so much happily. So we are not even tolerating, we're simply doing it, happily following in the wake of his auspiciousness, if you like.
Well, Maharaj, we'll be very happy to make your next flight at a more appropriate time.
Okay, yeah, so 4 hours later we'll begin, and that's super appropriate for me, as you know. All right, and good to see you, Govinda Nandini, to see you and see that you're well. Hearing the names of the devotees is our joy. We have that song by Narottam, I think Narottam Das Goswami. I forgot anyway, too late at night for me to say, but hearing the names of the devotees is our joy. So we are seeing all of your names, remembering your names, and when we can be with you, more joy. So we're very happy that we're all together. And now Jivana we can't see, we can only see your silhouette, Jivana, because you got the light with
Oh,
me.
it's my lighting is weird.
There you are.
It's very light here.
Now. We can see you now.
We finally have some blue skies again in California, as opposed to the orange sepia-colored skies we had for quite some time.
Oh, okay. So you're safe, right? And the ashram is safe, but from the fires we're talking about, yeah.
Yes, there's still fires going on, but not in our areas anymore. They pretty much have that 98% contained, they say.
Okay, good. A little while ago, but maybe a week ago now, or maybe less, losing track of days a little bit, but Janardhan Maharaj did call me, and I'm happy to say he was in very jolly spirits. I think a little bit relieved as well. So we're happy to see, because really there was some threat to that whole area, and our ashram is in wooded hillside. Indeed, our ashram has the opposite side of the hill. Many devotees don't know that. And I've been up there with the poison ivy, but that all belongs to the temple, but it's all forest.
Well, I think next time you come, a lot of the poison ivy has gotten cleared up, or the poison oak, I should say. Poison oak has been cleared up. A lot of it from the top area.
Okay. Well, when Uncle Sam lets us in, we'll be happy to come. Have to have a word with Uncle Sam about this. I know who can sort Uncle Sam out, is Grandfather Krishna.
Aha.
All right. Jai wonderful Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai wonderful Srila Guru Maharaj Srila Bhakti Rakha Kshira Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. And Jai, our most generous well-wisher who's brought us all, Srila Bhakti, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. And Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai. All of our Rupanuga Guru Bhaga ki Jai. All of our Sri Chaitanya Saraswata Acharya Brinda ki Jai. And all the unlimited Vaishnavas ki Jai, especially those present here. Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Anchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So I'll do some homework before our next time about that strong expression of Guru Maharaj about the hearing and not seeing and being dragged by our eyes to our mundane experience. And we'll meet again in a few days' time.
Jai Srila Bhaktivedanta Mansur Maharaj ki.
Hare Krishna.
Hari
Time to go.
Jai Nitai.
Hari Bol.